We are almost at the finish line, and you are still showing up like someone who isn't okay with average. That tells me something powerful. You're becoming the person who sees what others ignore. And that is the difference between a business where people tolerate and a business where people actually obsess over it. Let's take this a level up. The most unforgettable experiences aren't built from big and flashy. They are built from one simple mindset shift. Don't wait to be asked. Notice and act before your customers have to. That's anticipation. That's the +1. That is the moment where a guest stops thinking, this was nice, and starts thinking, this is different. This is better. This is where I want to be. And of course, science tells us this. When someone surprises us in a positive way, the brain releases dopamine, the reward chemical. The rush becomes a memory, and memories become loyalty. When someone meets an unspoken need, trust skyrockets and barriers drop. Connection locks in, and they feel cared for without having to be vulnerable first. And here's what I want you to hear loud and clear. Anticipation is leadership. A +1 is love in action. Connection locks in, and they feel cared for without being vulnerable first. And here's what I want you to hear loud and clear. Anticipating your guest's needs is where you start to level up. For example, if a guest shivers, you bring them a blanket. If a customer is scanning the room, you step in with help. Or this, someone casually mentions their anniversary, and a small celebratory gift appears later that night. Tiny gestures, a massive emotional impact. This is where you become the human, the brand that your customers brag about, because people don't become loyal when everything is perfect. They become loyal when they are cared for, especially when things aren't perfect and you're still able to make them feel cared for. I'd been traveling for 29 hours from Toronto to Singapore. And unfortunately, I have this work hazard where I don't sleep on airplanes, which is, well, it's kind of awful. But anyway, I arrive in Singapore after 29 hours of no sleep. I get to my stateroom, and this is when I was developing Celebrity Cruises brand experience. So I get into my stateroom. I close the curtains. I get into my pajamas. I crawl into bed. The phone rings. I was not so professional, and I let out a, oh my gosh. But I pick up the phone anyways, and I answer politely. And they say, Miss Maris, it's the documentation office. We need your passport. I put out a sigh of exhaustion. I responded, I'm exhausted. I haven't slept in 29 hours. I have a headache. Is there any way I can give it to you tomorrow? Her response was, unfortunately, Miss Maris, we need it before we can leave port. Again, another sigh. And she says, you know what? Hold on one moment. She comes back to the phone and she tells me, you know what, Miss Maris, I'm going to come get it from you. Wonderful. 5 minutes later, a knock at my stateroom door. I hand her my passport, and she hands me the most amazing little gesture, a bottle of water and some aspirin. That's anticipation. They anticipated my needs by coming and picking up the passport. They then delivered a +1 by giving me a bottle of water and some aspirin for my headache. They had to listen. So going back to genuine interest, they had to listen and hear me at what I said. They had to listen and pick up what I like to call golden nuggets. I said I was tired and I had a headache, and they delivered by anticipating my needs, coming to the stateroom, and delivering a +1 by giving me water and aspirin. How much did that cost them? Almost nothing. Every single step that you have learned about thus far is something that costs you nothing to deliver. What you say and how you say it matters. So that's managing your energy, managing your tone, and managing your words. Using your guest names because, as we've said, it's the quickest path to creating a relationship. Showing genuine interest. This is so important because when you lean in and you get curious about the most important thing, your customer, and you listen to what they have to say, you can then, step 4, anticipate their needs and deliver a +1 because you are picking up golden nuggets. And those golden nuggets are going to tell you everything you need to know in order to tailor an experience for them. So this is where we go from the basic CX experience, and it should be basic. Watching your tone, watching your words, ensuring that you use the guest name, showing genuine interest, and moving to an experience that is elevated and 5-star. This is where you get to really wow your customer. What I've been asking you to do through steps 1 through 3 is being a kind person. Now, there is a difference between nice and kind. Nice is an attitude. It's I have to do this. Kind is an action. It is caring. It's I get to. So I've asked you to switch your mindset to be a kind person instead of a nice person. To move your mindset from I have to I get to. And when you really settle in and you start to show up and show genuine interest in the people and humans you serve, you get to have some fun with it. So today, you're stepping into one of the most transformational skills in this entire journey. Be anticipatory and deliver that +1. This is the moment where a good experience becomes unforgettable, where your guests stop thinking, thanks, that was fine, and starts thinking, wow, I didn't expect that. I feel so cared for. I want to come back and I want to share this experience with everybody. This step is where loyalty lives. This is where your competitive edge is. And this is how you become the place and the person your customers choose every single time. Your customers already are stressed, rushed, and overstimulated. Most people today spend 47% of their waking hours feeling distracted and overwhelmed. I'm bringing Harvard back into this. It's kind of wild what they state. 95% of decisions are emotionally made. 70% of repeat business is driven by how a guest feels. And 83% of customers say the best experiences they have ever had involve someone noticing a need without being asked. That is anticipation. And that is delivering a +1. That is leadership in the guest experience. And I know you are capable of doing this. When you anticipate somebody's needs, you are sending a powerful emotional message. I'm paying attention. I care enough to help before you struggle. You are not invisible to me. That kind of care becomes a core memory, and those memories become loyalty. Have you ever had someone hand you something you needed before you even asked? It could be a drink when you were thirsty, a blanket when you were cold, directions when you looked lost. Instant softness, right? Instant trust, instant relief. You didn't just receive a product, you received care. That's what your guests crave. Zappos is a great example of this. Somebody could call in just to have them order a pizza or to ask for the weather or directions. I have another incredible example. My girlfriend and I were in Napa and she was on our way to the airport, but we were starving. We go into the restaurant, we order takeout, we ask for the order to be split because she's flying and I'm staying. They knew she was going to the airport. When they returned with the pizza and the salad, they also returned with the best route to get to the airport. They mapped it. They made the effort to say, you are going to be right on time. That moment blew both of us away. They didn't have to do it. They did it because they cared. They did it to anticipate our needs, and they did it so that we would remember them. And let me tell you, every time I go back to Napa, I go to that restaurant. That is how the guest experience becomes a story that gets told again and again. The +1 doesn't require money, it requires presence. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters most to your customer. You are in the noticing business, the listening business, the leadership with heart business. Anticipation is quiet power. It is subtle, it is strategic, and it changes everything. Golden nuggets are when your guests tell you what they need in the tiny little clues. A sigh, a pause, a glance, the way they shift their shoulders, a small comment about their day, a detail they mention about family or life. Those clues are invitations to create magic. Pick them up, run with them, make the moment matter. People don't become loyal because everything is perfect. You've heard me say this so many times. They become loyal because they were cared for, especially when things weren't perfect. When you shift from reaction to anticipation, you reduce friction, you increase emotional safety, you create a story worth repeating. You build a relationship that lasts. People stay where they feel thought of, and they leave where they feel ignored. You're going to learn 3 things: how to listen for the needs beneath the words, how to act on the moment, not just the task, and how to create a +1 that feels personal. The challenge I have for you is to collect as many golden nuggets as you can on your customers. I want you to start to track them. I want you to start to listen. You have shown genuine interest. Your customers are dropping golden nuggets like there is no tomorrow. And now it's your turn to pick them up. I just want you to focus on picking up those golden nuggets, writing them down, customer by customer. Next, we will focus on how you can use them to anticipate needs and deliver those fabulous +1s. All right, what are you waiting for? Wait, one more thing. As you are picking up these golden nuggets, I want to hear your stories. Tag me, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, DM me, share these stories. I want to know how you're winning and how you're succeeding. Okay, now for real, go collect those golden nuggets.